My beloved, there is a truth you already know. You have simply been afraid to admit it. Your heart has been trying to tell you something for days, maybe for weeks, maybe for much longer than you want to admit. And every time that quiet feeling rises, you distract yourself. You find another reason to wait. You ask someone else what they think. You convince yourself that you are overthinking. But deep inside, there is something you have been avoiding, something your heart keeps bringing back to you. And today, I want you to stop running from it. Listen, not to the noise around you, not to the opinions of people who do not carry your life, not to the fear that keeps creating endless possibilities. Listen to the quiet place inside you, because sometimes the heart recognizes truth long before the mind is ready to accept it. You have felt it. That strange peace around one choice, that heaviness around another, that feeling that something no longer belongs in your life, that quiet excitement when you imagine beginning again. You noticed all of it. Then fear told you to ignore it. Fear said, wait, maybe you are imagining things. Maybe you are being too emotional. Maybe nothing needs to change. Maybe you should stay where you are. But how long will you keep silencing yourself? How long will you continue choosing temporary comfort over lasting peace? How long will you keep asking everyone else for permission to follow what your heart already knows? There comes a moment when ignoring your inner voice becomes more painful than listening to it. And perhaps you have reached that moment today. Maybe it is telling you that you have been giving too much of yourself away. Maybe it is telling you that the dream you abandoned still matters. Maybe it is telling you that you are ready for a completely different chapter. Whatever it is, do not immediately reject it. And peace must come before certainty. My beloved, there is a reason certain thoughts keep returning. There is a reason certain memories still touch something deep inside you. There is a reason some dreams refuse to disappear. There is a reason you feel drawn towards something you cannot fully explain. Your heart is not always asking for an immediate answer. Sometimes it is simply asking you to acknowledge the truth. To say, yes, I feel this. Yes, this matters to me. Yes, something inside me is changing. That acknowledgement can be powerful. Because the moment you stop fighting what you already know, your mind becomes quieter, your breathing becomes lighter, and the path ahead begins to reveal itself. You do not need to force the answer. You do not need to rush. You do not need to prove anything to anyone. Just listen. Really listen, because the message your heart has been trying to give you may be the very message that leads you toward the life you have been waiting for. And perhaps the reason you found these words today is because your heart is finally ready to speak without being ignored. There is something beautiful that happens when you stop fighting your own feelings. You begin to understand yourself, not the version of yourself that everyone else expects, not the version that constantly tries to appear strong, not the version that says everything is fine, but the real you, the one who sometimes feels tired, the one who still has dreams, the one who sometimes misses what was lost, the one who wants to begin again, the one who wants peace more than applause. That person deserves your attention. You have spent so much time trying to understand everyone else. Why they behaved the way they did. Why they changed. Why they left. Why they stayed. Why they disappointed you. But when was the last time you sat quietly and asked yourself, what do I actually need? What does my heart need now? Not tomorrow. Not someday. Now, perhaps it needs rest. Perhaps it needs distance. Perhaps it needs forgiveness. Perhaps it needs courage. Perhaps it simply needs permission to stop pretending. Listen, because your heart has been carrying answers beneath all the noise. There are people you can forgive and still keep distance from. There are memories you can appreciate without returning to them. There are dreams you can release because they no longer belong to the person you are becoming. Letting go does not erase what something meant to you. It simply accepts that its chapter has ended. And sometimes, the most loving thing you can do for your future is stop trying to resurrect your past. Do not keep reopening doors that your heart already knows should remain closed. You deserve room for something new. Room for relationships that do not require you to constantly question your worth. Room for mornings that do not begin with anxiety. Room for a future that feels lighter than the life you have been carrying, my beloved. Maybe your heart is telling you to begin, and this can be even more frightening. Because beginning means becoming vulnerable again. Beginning means risking failure. Beginning means admitting that you still want something. You may have told yourself that the dream is unrealistic, that you are too late, that other people are already ahead, that you should be practical. But your heart keeps returning to it, again and again and again. Perhaps that dream deserves one more honest look. Not every dream is meant to become reality, but some dreams remain because they are connected to something deeply meaningful within you. You do not have to achieve everything tomorrow. You simply have to begin. One step, one attempt, 1 hour of effort, one brave decision. Do not demand the entire staircase before taking the first step. Your heart may not be asking you to reach the destination today. It may only be asking you to stop standing still. Listen carefully, because sometimes the voice inside you is not saying, "You must have everything figured out." It is simply saying, "Begin." And sometimes, that single word can change the direction of an entire life. My beloved, your heart has another message for you. Stop comparing your timing with someone else's. You have been looking at other people's lives and quietly asking, "Why not me? Why are they moving ahead? Why are their dreams happening? Why does their life look easier?" And slowly, without realizing it, you began believing that your own journey was somehow behind. But your heart knows something your comparison cannot understand. Your path has never been meant to look like theirs. Their sunrise does not make yours late. Their success does not make you a failure. Their relationship does not mean you are destined to be alone. Their beginning does not mean you missed yours. You are living a different story, and different stories have different seasons. Your heart has been asking you to stop looking sideways. Look forward. There is something ahead that can only be discovered by the person you are becoming. Do not miss it because you were busy measuring your life against someone else's. My beloved, maybe your heart is telling you that you need to rest. You have been treating exhaustion like a weakness. Keep working. Keep solving. Keep carrying. Keep pretending that you can handle everything. But even the strongest heart needs moments of silence. Rest is not surrender. Rest is restoration. You cannot pour endlessly from a heart that has never been allowed to refill. Give yourself permission to breathe. You do not have to solve your entire life tonight. You do not have to know what tomorrow will bring. You do not have to carry everyone else's emotions. For a little while, put the world down. Sit quietly. Let your thoughts settle. Sometimes clarity comes only after the mind becomes quiet, and perhaps the answer you have been desperately searching for has been waiting underneath your exhaustion all along, my beloved. There may also be a relationship your heart keeps talking about. Perhaps someone makes you feel peaceful. Perhaps someone makes you constantly anxious. Pay attention to the difference. Love should not require you to lose yourself. Care should not require you to live in fear. A healthy connection should leave room for honesty, room for growth, room for peace. Do not ignore how your body feels around certain people. Do not ignore the exhaustion that follows certain conversations. Do not ignore the peace that appears around people who allow you to be yourself. Your heart notices things your mind sometimes tries to explain away. Listen, not every connection is meant to last forever. Some are lessons. Some are seasons. Some are lifelong gifts. Your responsibility is not to force every connection to remain. Your responsibility is to remain honest about what each connection is doing to your spirit. And when your heart tells you something is changing, do not immediately silence it. Listen, because sometimes your heart sees the ending before your mind is ready to accept it. And sometimes, that ending is exactly what makes room for your next beginning. My beloved, there is another message hidden inside the restlessness you have been feeling. You are ready to stop living on autopilot. For too long, you have repeated the same patterns because they were familiar. You woke up. You worked. You worried. You distracted yourself. You slept. Then you repeated it all again. Somewhere along the way, you stopped asking whether this was actually the life your heart wanted. You simply became accustomed to it. But familiarity is not the same as fulfillment. A routine can become comfortable while your spirit quietly asks for more. More meaning, more creativity, more love, more peace. More time for the things that make you feel alive. Do not ignore that longing. It is not necessarily telling you to abandon everything. Sometimes it is simply asking you to make room for something that has been neglected, a forgotten dream, a creative idea, a healthier habit, a meaningful conversation, a little more silence, a little less noise. Small changes can awaken parts of you that have been sleeping for years. You do not need to transform your entire life overnight. You only need to stop pretending that nothing needs to change. Your heart may also be telling you to stop chasing someone who is not choosing you. This message can hurt. You keep hoping that one day they will finally see what you have been offering. But love should not require you to constantly convince someone of your value. You deserve reciprocity. You deserve respect. You deserve a connection where you do not have to wonder every morning whether you matter. If someone truly belongs in your life, you will not have to destroy yourself to keep them there. And if someone chooses to leave, do not turn their departure into proof that you were not enough. Sometimes people leave because their journey is moving somewhere else. That does not reduce your worth. It simply means their chapter with you has changed. Let them go with dignity. Keep the lesson. Keep the love that was real. But release the need to rewrite the ending. Your heart may be asking for freedom. Give it that freedom, beloved. And perhaps the deepest message of all is this: stop waiting for someone else to rescue the life you already have the power to change. You have been waiting for the perfect opportunity, the perfect person, the perfect moment, the perfect sign. But perfection keeps moving farther away. Begin with what is available today: your time, your courage, your honesty, your next decision, your next breath, your next step. That is enough. Your life does not need to become extraordinary overnight. It needs to become honest. Because once you start living honestly, your direction becomes clearer, your heart becomes lighter, and the path ahead begins revealing itself. So when that quiet voice speaks again, do not immediately push it away. Pause. Listen. Ask what it is trying to show you. Because the heart that you keep ignoring today may be carrying the very truth that can set you free tomorrow. My beloved, there is something your heart wants you to stop doing. Stop begging for clarity from people who benefit from keeping you confused. You have spent too much time trying to understand mixed signals, trying to decode silence, trying to interpret someone's changing behavior, trying to find meaning in words that never match their actions. Your heart already knows how exhausting that has become. Peace does not require endless investigation. If something constantly leaves you confused, step back. If something repeatedly makes you question your worth, step back. If someone only remembers you when they need something, step back. You do not need to hate anyone. You do not need revenge. You do not need a dramatic ending. Sometimes peace simply looks like becoming unavailable for what repeatedly hurts you. That is not cruelty. That is self-respect. And your heart has been asking you for that respect for a long time. Sometimes closure is not something another person gives you. You can acknowledge what happened. You can admit that it hurt. You can accept that it was unfair, and still choose peace. You do not need their permission to heal. You do not need their regret to move forward. Your heart may be telling you, enough. Let this chapter rest. Listen, my beloved. There is also a dream you keep postponing because you are afraid of failing. You tell yourself you will begin when you have more time, more money, more confidence, more knowledge, more support. But there will always be another reason to wait. At some point, you must begin with what you have. Your first attempt does not need to be perfect. Your first step does not need to impress anyone. It only needs to exist. A small beginning can carry enormous potential. One decision can create momentum. 1 hour can become a habit. One habit can become a skill. One skill can become a new opportunity. One opportunity can change the direction of your life. Never underestimate the beginning simply because it looks small. Every great chapter begins with a sentence. Every long journey begins with one step. Every sunrise begins with darkness, slowly giving way to light. Your heart may be asking you to begin. Do not demand guarantees. Give yourself permission to try, my beloved. And if you fail, do not turn failure into an identity. You are not your mistake. You are not the rejection. You are not the closed door. You are not the relationship that ended. You are not the opportunity you missed. You are the person who learned, the person who continued, the person who grew, the person who came back stronger. That is why your heart keeps telling you not to give up, because it knows something your fear keeps forgetting. The story is still being written, and one difficult chapter can never describe the beauty of an entire book. Listen to your heart. It is not asking you to become perfect. It is asking you to become honest. And perhaps the most honest thing you can say today is, I am ready to stop abandoning myself. Let those words settle quietly inside your heart, because perhaps this was the message you needed most. Not a promise that every problem will disappear tomorrow. Not an assurance that every person will stay. Not a guarantee that every dream will arrive exactly when you want it. But a reminder that you must not lose yourself while waiting for life to become what you hope it will be. You have spent enough time questioning your worth, enough time ignoring your own needs, enough time silencing your feelings just to keep everyone else comfortable, enough time pretending that something does not hurt simply because you were afraid to admit that it does. Today, choose honesty, choose peace, choose yourself. Not with anger, not with selfishness, not with bitterness, but with love. Listen when your heart says rest. Listen when it says begin. Listen when it says release. Listen when it says forgive. Listen when it says that something no longer belongs in your life. And listen when it whispers that something beautiful is still possible. Your heart will not always give you easy answers. Sometimes it will ask you to wait. Sometimes it will ask you to walk away. Sometimes it will ask you to begin again. Sometimes it will ask you to remain patient while everything around you seems uncertain. But whatever it asks, do not silence it simply because the answer is uncomfortable. An uncomfortable truth can still lead to a peaceful life, and a comfortable lie can slowly destroy one. My beloved, there will be days when you question whether you made the right choice. There will be moments when the old life looks easier. There will be times when you miss people you know you had to leave behind. When that happens, do not romanticize what your heart already outgrew. Remember why you chose peace. Remember how tired you became? Remember how many times you ignored the feeling inside you? Remember how often you told yourself, it is fine, when it was not. You do not need to return simply because you miss what was familiar. Missing something does not always mean you should go back. Sometimes it simply means that it mattered. Honor what mattered, then continue forward. The voice inside you is simply reminding you, you are allowed to live a life that feels like your own. So go forward now, with a softer heart, a mind, and a stronger spirit. Leave behind what repeatedly steals your peace. Carry forward what gives your life meaning. Forgive what needs forgiveness. Release what needs releasing. Begin what needs beginning. And never again confuse losing yourself with keeping someone else. You are worthy of peace. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of beautiful beginnings. You are worthy of a life where your heart does not have to scream just to be heard. Listen carefully. Your heart is not your enemy. It has been trying to guide you home. And perhaps today, for the first time, you finally listened. I am proud of you, my beloved. I am always with you, my child. I love you, my child.